then definitely people will go for the foreign goods.
But that's the thing, we have to try and invest in quality. We love shortcuts. That's why everything we do comes, second rate to something. So we are not either eager enough or ready to persevere and to take on the struggles or the determination that it takes to produce the best. We are trying to either make quick profits or something like that. But we have to know that to be great, there is a long process. So I think we need to endure that, and we need to change our mentality in how we do things.
Are we ready to do that?
We are ready to do it. That's why, the youth of today, we are more than ready to do it. We just need to be given the environment, or we need to create that environment for ourselves.
But that environment is very hostile. Because, for example, I go to Ghana on a holiday, and I'm trying, you see, what they hate is for you to try to tell them what you know, which is different from what they know. They have been accustomed to a certain way of doing things for far too long. It has become part of them. It's a cultural practice, and it's difficult for you to change that mind.
Yeah, the thing with that, how you can address that thing is taking them out of that environment. For example, is giving them mentorship of people who have been abroad. Give them an opportunity. I'll come to this later, but with Question Africa, we are going to be having a session whereby I bring prominent people into a sit down. And while we are discussing and addressing the questions about Africa and trying to find solutions for those, I will be trying to connect these prominent people with the youths in Africa so that they can be mentored. So once you take them out of the environment, don't tell them, involve them in the process. That's where we go wrong, because when you go back, you want to impact your knowledge on them, but
and it doesn't work.
Show them. It won't work.
So it wouldn't work in their environment. Sometimes you have to take them out.
Yes.
So for example, if somebody is in a particular village in Kenya, you take that person to the city to experience different environment, and through that the mindset will change. Is that what you are saying?
Yes, that's what I'm trying to say. Because what we can do is, like, if someone, for example, wants to be, let's say, a fashion designer, but is in African, so they know only one way of doing it, we can start collaborating. This is where people go wrong. It's not trying to do everything yourself. Find people who are already doing exactly what you want to do and collaborate with them. And for example, we can give this young person some sort of an internship or an experience with a company which is actually doing designing, so they can actually see for themselves. And what will happen when they go back, they will tell the rest of the community what happened. And guess what? They are more likely to be received than yourself trying to tell the community what you actually think the situation should be. So we have to involve the community in all the change we are trying to do.
I think you are bringing a very powerful dimension, and I think it's a big transition. Do you think it's easy to do that?
It is easy. I wouldn't say like easy, you wake up and do it. We need to have a lot of hard work, but what I can say, it is doable. We need to stop trying, as inspirational speakers or influential people, we need to stop trying to do everything ourselves and start building collaboration so that it can be doable.
That I really like what you are saying, because it's becoming interesting when people from abroad go back to Africa and all they see is complaining. All they see is finding fault with the African people, and they come back here without making any difference in their lives.
That's true. But we need to try and address those things by involving the community, not trying to go there ourselves and trying to impact our knowledge on them. And on that note, actually, I would like to say hello to some people who are already tuning in. Hello, Namnyak Betty Lempira, how are you doing? Thank you so much for tuning in. Hi, Shalina, Yasmin Uden. Thank you so much. Thank you so much for tuning in. And Syra, how is she doing? I miss her so much. And thank you so much, Munya Uswana, for tuning in. Hello, Poet. How are you doing? Thank you so much, everyone. We really appreciate you being online this moment.
Thank you very much, all of you. We really appreciate your time. And trust me, if the first time you are listening to this program, we are here live every Thursday 7 p.m. It's not just because of Julia that you are watching us today, but it has to be a continuous process. Thanks for tuning in, and we really appreciate your time. Now, Julia.
Hello.
Do you think our teachers are well trained enough to really educate our children to be competitive in the world market?
That's a few questions in one. First of all, we had, which is a good thing first, that we had an increase in the number of children who actually went to school between 1990 to 2012. It doubled to about over 160 million. But what did not increase is the number of teachers that we have in our schools. So what you find is that, for example, in some countries, you find teacher.
It's like your tax going up, but your salary is still the same.
Still the same. So you find one teacher now has responsibility for over 80 children. So it's not about them being well trained or not. The first problem is actually is disproportionate, the number of students that we assign to one teacher. First, we have to make teaching a more approachable or a more enticing or interesting vocation or a career for people to take. The second thing I have to address, and this goes actually to Kenya, our teachers are always on strike because the government doesn't pay them. They make promises.
It is not only Kenya.
So it is everywhere.
It's everywhere.
Those are so far two problems. So if, first of all, you have so many students per one teacher, then the government doesn't honor its promises. Forget about the quality of the education. Those two problems are a hindrance because our kids miss out on education, they miss school. But then when you come back to their actual training, sometimes it is not sufficient for the level of, the kids. These days, kids grow more than their teachers. For example, because of the increased technology. At the moment, like in Kenya, we have 73% of mobile phone penetration. That means that more people have mobile phones than even anything else.
Yeah, exactly.
So even the kids, when they're playing with their moms or daddies,
I think Nigeria is one of the biggest markets in terms of mobile phone usage in Africa and even at the top level in the world.
Yeah, but you see, we have that sort of technology or capability, but then if you take, for example, computer skills in school, you might find that the teachers themselves, they are not up to date with the technology as the kids. So we have that barrier.
Let me tell you this. At university, back in the days when I was at uni, we had Windows 95 coming in, right?
Right.
Because our lecturer did not know Windows 95, we were taught Fortran 44. Do you know what Fortran 44 is?
I don't even know what you're talking about.
Can you imagine?
Before my
so
time.
just to confirm what you are saying, the lecturer he's not abreast with Windows 95 back in the days. So how can he teach? So we were still stuck with Fortran 44, in which I went for a course in Windows 95 and I was doing Fortran 44, taking me backwards.
Yeah.
So that there's a challenge.
There's a gap between what. So I think the government actually have to look at how they allocate the resources, because trust me, it's not that Africa doesn't have money assigned to such things. They have money, but the money disappears as always in Africa. But we have to start putting priorities right. There is this money to give the teachers refresher courses or even to train them when
Do they see the need?
They see the need, but then they don't prioritize it. There is a need for the teachers to receive the best training ever. But if, for example, when you're going to teach in college, they ask you sometimes to bring your own things, but sometimes when you're coming from a poor background, sometimes it's impossible to go with everything. Perhaps that's how some people miss out on learning, because if you haven't brought the equipment you're supposed to be taught, then how are you going to learn? And then you're supposed to feed back that information to students. You already missed out on the training. So I think there are a few issues that we need to address. It's not that the resources are not there. Our government have the resources. Allocate it with priority. But I think we have to address those things as the citizens. As I say, when you're looking at the development of Africa, don't leave it to our government. It's everybody's responsibility. So the development will not be a top-down or a down-up development. It's all of us together, the individuals and the government. And I think the most important thing we have to do is try to get ourselves, the youth, into decision-making places. So whether it's either in leadership positions in the government or in leadership positions when they are campaigning, so that we can hold them accountable. We can put it in the manifesto that you have to fulfill 1, 2, 3, and we have to have a procedure whereby they are accountable. You see, people in the UK, if you fail on what you have promised, you resign.
Yes.
But in Africa,
no, they hold on.
No history of anybody.
They
resigning.
hold on.
So we haven't really challenged them enough. We have to start having mechanisms where we can challenge them and tell them you failed your country. You can only respect it by resigning. Otherwise, we have to have a way to just tell them, no, you cannot be my leader anymore.
But I believe the people are worse than the government.
How do you mean?
Because the people think they are doing small corruption in court. They are not really corrupting so much. So it's like a small sin. But if the government is corrupting, then that is the major problem. Now, if 70% of the population are corrupting every day a pound,
yes,
that is a whole lot of money.
That's a problem.
You see,
yeah.
but this mindset is ingrained. It's been part of these people. Now, every office, sorry to say, you enter in Ghana, that is why I know much.
Yeah.
Probably you need to put something in an envelope.
At
Right?
least you guys put it in an envelope as we just hand it over. You don't put it in an envelope. Otherwise, no one will see you. So at least you guys, you're more discreet.
Yeah, more discreet.
But no, we don't want to learn those tricks. What we want to learn is changing our mindset that even if, like, do not.
So how do you only stand out? How can you, the only person to stand out and say, I'm fighting for this? I'm going to make sure I make a difference.
You know what happens? People are not resilient enough because you can be the only non-corrupt person in government, but once you face the opposition, everyone is telling you, no, you have to break the rules, then you give in. But if we can have someone who won't give in, then we can move forward. May I give an example? With Kenya, we had a very prominent anti-corruption officer. He told everybody off. Guess what happened to him? He was sacked from his job for being too good at his job, which is a shame for us because he was doing the best job ever. But we need to come to a place whereby even if he is sacked, the next person whom they will appoint should just continue being like his predecessor, being good,
yes.
and stand. But what happened is you just go and then you give in, you cave in. No, don't cave in. Once they sack enough people, they'll realize, no, we can't keep doing this. The population will be unhappy with us doing this. And trust me, we will see change. But once one person is fired because they are doing their job, and then the next person wants to hold on to the job, oh, I don't want to get fired, you're doing your country a disservice, which is not why you were appointed to.
Because people are looking at their stomach, not what they can do to really help.
Yeah, but that's not right. We are not here just to benefit. What about our children? What about our children's children? Because I tell people, if we are not careful in Africa, other people will come to our continent and enjoy our resources.
They are already doing it. They are already doing it.
Oh, I was just being optimistic.
They are already doing it.
Now
we've got people from other countries across the globe that are going to Africa and they are really enjoying life more than us.
It shouldn't happen like that. We are letting ourselves down. So we need to do there's more that we need to do, and it starts with do not worry about just yourself. Think of the bigger picture. We are so self-centered. But once you give yourself away and you're like, you know what, I'm doing this for my children's children, I tell you, you will withstand anything. And if we can have that sort of mentality, then Africa will be able to enjoy its resources, because it's so sad that one day we wake up, you're waking up in your own house, and then someone else will tell you that, you know what, you don't own that house anymore. I bought it last night. You don't even know from whom they bought the house. So it's really sad. We may wake up to such a reality one day if we are not careful.
That waking up is coming far too late, isn't it?
It's never too late, because if we don't start doing it now, then when is the best time to do it? Look at the state we are in at the moment. We have to start doing it now. I get where you're coming from, saying it's too late. Yes, we should have done it ages ago. There's no excuse to why we haven't done it. But because maybe we've been, actually not maybe, but we have been ignorant. So now let us wake up and let us do it now. Let us try to guard our country jealously and with so much love for our future generations so that they benefit. And
how can we wake up? How can we gather people and resources to wake up?
first of all, is stop thinking about how you can benefit from this yourself, how your family can benefit from this yourself. Start thinking, how will the generations to come think of our generation today? If you think in the wider context, then you shift your mindset, and then you find that, as you say, the mind controls your actions. Once you think in a positive way, then you will start doing positive things. You start going towards a positive place. I think that's where we need to start, is thinking bigger than ourselves. Think of the continent. Think of the generations.
We think now, we don't think tomorrow.
That's a problem. No. We have to think of even not just one generation to come, 3, 4, 5 generations to come. What would they think of us? What would they say of us? What will history think of us? I would like history to think of me as a person who really contributed at her time, and I think that's the mindset we are trying to get the youth of today to have.
Do students leave the borders of the school with any skills?
Not exactly, because there are so many barriers they have to overcome, plus the job market is so corrupt. So once you leave with your degree, for example, in Kenya at the moment, people are even doing PhDs, but they still can't get job, because when you go to the job market, you're not getting a fair share. So you're getting that people who are related to someone have the job while they don't have the skills, whereas you don't know anybody, then you miss out. But the thing which I actually do hope that one day we will achieve, even in the public sector, so the government offices, is stop hiring people you are related to and people just who know you through somebody. Start looking at what they are bringing in.
You see, that is my problem, Julia, because at the end of the day, I haven't seen anybody that is corrupt, goes to the office, makes money every day out of corruption, and he sits down one day and says, I have changed my mind.
No, but we need to start realizing and making them know that that is wrong. We need to start putting pressure, because it's our kids who will lose out. So that's why I'm saying the whole of Africa being developed, which is one of my hashtag, Africa Developed, because I don't believe we are not developed. We are very much mismanaged, is that we should start taking and making others accountable, such that we can stop that trend of the person being hired is because they know somebody. So we have to start challenging that. And I'm sure we can have, we have think tanks, we have pressure groups. We can start on that and come and tell our government, no, you've got to change. And ourselves as the citizens, we also have to change. Don't accept or be in expectation to bribe the next person because you think they'll do you a favor. It's, we have to start with ourselves, I think, to
So you have to start with ourselves.
Yes, to maintain humanity.
But people are waiting for the government to start it.
No, I've said you can't wait for the government. No. It's everybody's responsibility, not just the government. The government will never do it, so it's everybody's responsibility. And once we start doing it, once the citizens start doing it, then when these fellow people who are citizens get elected, then you start electing someone who is not corrupt, and perhaps it will change that way. But it can't start, I said, it's not a top-down or a down-top sort of responsibility. It's all round. It's everybody's responsibility.
It's getting interesting. It's getting interesting. But we've got work to do, isn't it?
Yes, we've got a lot to do. We've got a lot to do. First of all, is with the youth, we have to start, encouraging them. And, like at the moment, when you look at politicians, the people mentoring our youth to go into politics are the corrupt people.
Yes.
But why can't we have honorable businessmen, who are not corrupt, start mentoring our youth on how they can be leaders?
It's like what Richard Case is doing here in the UK.
Young Adult Forum.
Young Adult Forum.
Hello, Richard.
Yeah, I hope he's listening. And he's online. He's online to come to this program as well, because he's doing a great job with the youth in the UK, connecting them to politics, trying to teach them, trying to understand the dynamics of how politics works. As you are saying, the politicians who are mentoring these people, the young generation, are the people who are, sorry to say in quotes, corrupt.
Yeah.
So if they are corrupt, what do you think they can bring on board?
Yeah, but first of all, just to mention that about Richard Case and Young Adults Forum, actually what he does is he takes these young people to parliament to challenge the government. So they actually stand there and say, no, Mr. Minister, you said 1, 2, 3 and you did not do it. And you're saying it in front of other youths or in front of the people you were supposed to be governing. So by doing that, by challenging them openly, they start taking accountability and being responsible. So I think we can have such a pressure group also in Africa, and they have to.
Julia, we've got work to do.
We have a lot to do, I tell you. So
because in Africa they will tell you to shut up. What do you know?
No, but then we have to, as I said, you have to be persistent. Just because they've told you to shut up doesn't mean the whole community has to do it. Like, has to keep quiet. We have so many pressure groups, so many organizations. What I'm saying is, do not try to do it by yourself, because you cannot. Collaborate with others and then you'll be able to make change. But then we all want to be famous all by yourself. It won't work like that. You have to involve other people with you. And that's something, a lesson we need to learn in Africa. Stop being the only rich man in that village of yours. Bring everyone along so you can all be rich together. Okay.
We'll be going for a quick commercial break, and when we come back, we are going to continue our discussion. Trust me, it is been getting hotter in here, because Julia is giving an in-depth of information that is really changing my life. Do you know what I'm learning every Thursday? Because there's so wide guest that comes on the show that brings different perspective to what I know. And trust me, it's a very good thing. Do you know what I want you to do? When we come back, the phone lines will be opened, and you can call in or text to contribute to the show. And also, when we come back, you can share all your ideas. We don't want to come here and teach you. We want you also to share your views, so that we will understand that we are on the right path as well. Don't change the dial. I will ask you to call a friend to listen to the next segment of the program.
And just before we go for break, thank you so much. We have some more people who have joined us live. Hello, Faye, Louise, Arnold. I miss you. How are you doing? Thank you for tuning in. And we also have Fred Overholt all the way from USA. Hi, Fred. I don't know what time it is there, but I hope it's still daytime. Thank you so much for tuning in. And we have Jennifer Lansley. Hello, Jennifer. How are you, sis? Thank you so much for tuning in. And Coco Chi. How are you, sis? Welcome. And thank you so much for tuning in. And finally, we have Sarah. Sarah, thank you so much for tuning in.
Please don't change the dial.
Yeah, it's going okay.
60 years for the first annual Ghana Music Awards.
You okay?
Yes.
Okay,
Oh,
fine.
my friends are tuning in.
Night as we celebrate Ghanaian music.
So what I've done is, I've just cut it, post it, yeah? So that one will go. So on your phone now, you should see it coming. You can share it. Yeah.